really just started to look at how can I bring in the things that I needed to improve my life instead of being a victim of the circumstances of what I didn't learn when I was younger. I have the ability to learn anything. So using those to help me build a better platform for myself and now to help inspire other people to realize no matter what you're facing, there is a way through it.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our mission is to help you live your best audacious life ever. I'm thrilled to have you here and sharing this space with you, and deeply appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us on our journey. Each episode is designed to inspire, motivate, and provide you with the tools you need to tackle life's challenges head on and emerge stronger. Today, we're diving into the important topic, the significance of facing obstacles as opportunities for growth. Life is a roller coaster filled with both exhilarating highs and daunting lows. Just like a mountain climber navigating steep terrain, we must learn to embrace both the uphill struggles and the downhill rewards. Each obstacle we encounter can be viewed as a stepping stone, offering valuable lessons that contribute to our personal growth. It's essential to recognize that good days and bad days are part of the larger journey, teaching us resilience and the ability to adapt. In this episode, we'll explore the power of daily habits to foster self-accountability and inner strength. By building a foundation of positive routines, we empower ourselves to make choices that lead us towards our goals. Radical self-acceptance plays a crucial role in this process, allowing us to recognize that our personal choices shape our reality. Moreover, we'll discuss the interconnectedness of our mind, body, and nutrition, and how these elements work together to create a fulfilling life. Joining us today is the incredible Charissa Halonen, co-founder of the Relentless Couple. Charissa has spent nearly 2 decades helping people overcome their limiting beliefs, improve their fitness, and enhance their nutrition. Her journey is a testament to the power of resilience as she has navigated the significant personal challenges in her life, including a life-changing brain injury and a journey to sobriety. Charissa's insights into the importance of mindset and self-care make her a perfect fit for our discussion today, and I'm super excited to have her here. And so, without any further ado, let's turn to our conversation with Charissa. Enjoy. Hey, Charissa, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to be here today.
I appreciate the opportunity to have a conversation with you, Audley.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, we were just talking on the top about how it's a blessing to be able to engage in dialogues and conversations that can potentially make an impact in other people's lives, and just through just sharing our stories and our experiences and the lessons we've taken from them, right? And so all those things are wonderful things, and it's a beautiful place to be able to sit in this position, to be able to share in that manner and potentially impact others positively. So thank you for helping me fulfill my own personal mission. And on this podcast we often talk about that living that best audacious life, and really what that is, we're all on our own individual path, our own individual experiences, set of circumstances that are for our own, as opposed to what others have, and they're all because each of us are on our own individual path. And while no two paths are the same, the commonality in every single one of us will be that there will be obstacles, there'll be bumps, there'll be challenges, there'll be pitfalls, or things that make us want to quit and say we're done. And when we talk about that commonality, the thing that's common is our ability, or should be, I use the word should, but our ability to respond to those situations and continue to push through and push ahead and persevere. Because I truly, truly believe that sort of on the other side of all those icky, yucky, not so nice feeling stuff is kind of where the greatness lies. And so it's really, our job, or obligation, I would put it, rather, a strong obligation to get over, past, through, around whatever that thing is holding you back from your individual greatness. And so as a starting point, Charissa, maybe I can get you to sort of introduce yourself to our audience and give an insight into sort of what got you to the point that you're at now.
Absolutely. I strongly believe in what you just said. We have obstacles that are presented to us to actually help us grow, because when everything goes our way, we don't grow as humans. So
Mhm.
life will give us things that are giving us those characteristics and skills to be able to work through the things in life and become better on the other side of it. So
Yeah.
unifies us together that we all do have those struggles. But I'm Charissa. I am a co-founder of the Relentless Couple. And our mission right now is helping people live their best life through helping them overcome limiting beliefs in their mindsets, getting their body dialed in, and getting their nutrition dialed in, because it's all interconnected for living your best life. If you've got a healthy body, healthy mind, and really good fuel to move your body. I was a massage therapist for 17 years. And so I've been working with people hands-on, working through their life problems as they're laying on the massage table, because nothing is separate. We don't have, the mechanics for the body is in this category, and the mind's here, and the events are here. Everything's
Yep.
intertwined. So I've had the privilege of working with people and helping them for the better part of 2 decades. And I've had my own challenges along the way. I went from being a competitive ballerina when I was younger to putting on another 70 pounds when I was in university, and ballooning up to just about 200 pounds, and really having to learn how emotions and mindset worked, because it wasn't something that I learned when I was younger. It's not something my
Mhm.
parents had to give me. So as I struggled through my weight issues, I had issues with alcohol at one point in my life, and it was all really getting to the root of I was avoiding my life because I did not know how to face the hard things. It wasn't exampled to me, so it was on me to learn how to live my life differently in a more productive way. And that was, I did self-help books, I did yoga training, I started working out, I hired fitness coaches in the last 5 years, and really just started to look at how can I bring in the things that I needed to improve my life instead of being a victim of the circumstances of what I didn't learn when I was younger. I have the ability to learn anything. So using those to help me build a better platform for myself, and now to help inspire other people to realize no matter what you're facing, there is a way through it. There's growth that comes from it, and all of the potential that's on the other side of realizing that you can make a big change in your life.
Yeah, no, and those changes are real. I think what happens is maybe in our minds we've scripted how we think our life will go, right? And then this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and things will be perfect. Well, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Like, I mean, it's no matter how many plans we have laid out, there will be something that says, no, we're gonna switch it and go this way, and you're gonna have to change, pivot, or adjust in response to that situation. And so I think there's much to be said about not being tied to whether the outcomes you believe that you should receive, or even just your plans in general. I wonder if you could sort of talk about just making that distinction of what's really going to happen versus what you think will happen.
Well, it's always going to have, like, life's always going to throw you monkey wrenches. And we have zero control of the things outside of us. So you can control the thoughts, your mindset, your actions or inaction, because that's also a choice. What you put in your body for content, for reading, food, all of those things, the people that you spend time with, this
Mhm.
is control things. So change is as inevitable as taxes and death. Every like the seasons change throughout the year all the time, so it is a
Right.
consistent. Being surprised that change gets thrown at you on the daily is like kind of wondering why there's clowns at a circus. We have to really focus inward on the things that we can control, and then just realize that life is gonna give us things to challenge us every day. So doing those hard things intentionally helps you realize no matter what life throws at me, I can get through that too. I may not know how I'm going to get through it, but I know I'll be able to get through it, because you intentionally teach yourself that mental toughness and the tenacity you need to deal with changes, because they are going to come, and usually without permission and in a really rude and abrupt way.
Gotcha. Gotcha. one of the things that you had to personally deal with is a car accident that really made a significant change on your entire life. And I wonder if you sort of talk about, maybe that situation and what you need to do to get past it, those circumstances.
Yeah, like for me, it was November 2014 is when it happened, and it was on my lunch break at work. Again, at that time, I was a massage therapist still, and so I was literally going to go do some Christmas shopping. And on my way, there was an older lady who blew through the stop sign, hit my car so hard that I spun, ended up in the other lane of traffic. Luckily, it was a side street, so I didn't get hit by the other lane of traffic. But what happened is from the impact and the airbag going off, my brain hit my skull in 3 different places. And it wasn't until 3 years later that it actually got properly diagnosed. So my personality changed in an instant. And it wasn't until I got the diagnosis that I could fully make peace with that. And I had to grieve that I was no longer the person I used to be before the accident. And again, that's where, okay, this situation, I can be the victim and woe is me that I don't, my life changed and yada, yada. But I was like, okay, I still have so much that I want to accomplish in this life. What do I need to do? How do I need to live? And, I had to get very comfortable talking about this because when you have a brain injury, I was single at the time. So when you meet your partner, you have to explain this because there's still things I deal with to this day that are triggering. It's not always pleasant.
Right.
And you have to navigate forward differently. So it's just allowing it, this is something I can't fight because I can't change it. So this is how I am now and move forward accordingly because there is still so much positive impact that can be made instead of just staying in something and just, lamenting about something I can't control.
I love how as you recount, what happened to you, how effortlessly you make it sound. And I'm sure there's lots of challenges and things that made it difficult. And there's days that you didn't want to deal with it or didn't know how to deal with it. What do you recommend for people during those down times, those challenging periods where it's like they still maybe don't want to get out of bed and deal with whatever they got in front of them?
Well, just remembering that it's okay that it's hard. Like we have this idea in our mind that life should be easy. And that's not true. Life is full spectrum. It should never be so easy and it should never be so hard. The hard parts are where we really get to dig in and learn about who we are. Because we believe you're not presented with anything that you can't build the skills to learn from. Because I definitely had dark days where the simple sounds would set me off and I would spiral into being kind of a very unpleasant person.
Right.
And really just wondering is like, okay, well, what did I do to deserve this? And then I had to flip it to, how much more can I learn about myself? Like this is my capacity, but I need to learn how I can 1% do this different. It's like, okay, you don't want to get out of bed today, sit up and start reading. So you still want to be in bed, but start doing things that are going to be productive and that don't, you don't have to interact with people if you're in that way. Probably better you don't, so that you don't create, shrapnel for other people. But it's just finding the purpose, because I truly believe every day we wake up, it's because that purpose that you have has not been fulfilled. So working through that struggle for me is now allowing me to share with people that, I look perfectly fine, but I do have a brain injury that I deal with every day. So it's showing that you can keep working through things and actually get better. It isn't necessarily going to be the end because it feels like the world is closing in on you,
Right.
but you get to redefine everything. Anything that existed before, you get to really examine, is this how I want to live my life? Am I showing up the way that I want to? Am I being my best version? And if there are any areas where it's like, no, it's like, beautiful. Now I have purpose. Now I have those things that I can work on each day until I can figure out what my new life looks like. I can start in these little areas.
Gotcha. What was most helpful to you as you were going through your challenges?
Realizing it was okay to have bad days. that was for me. I was a classic people pleaser when I was growing up, and it's like I felt awful if I wasn't that happy-go-lucky, and just realizing that it's okay to have a bad day. Just don't take it out on other people, but it's okay that today is hard, and then just get up and do your best, and then the next day maybe it'll be different.
Yeah, yeah. And the word acceptance comes to mind, right? That it's yeah, today's not going to be the greatest, but and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, I oftentimes use the analogy of life kind of being like a series of hills and valleys, right? So on the top of the hill, everything's great and it's happy and you got joy and satisfaction, fulfillment, all those things. But as life goes, it's going to kind of go down. It's going to go down that valley, and the valley doesn't feel good. Pain, disappointment, failures, all this, all the quote unquote bad stuff. And so I think if we understand that perspective, that this is, as we move through that continuum of life, there are going to be ups and downs, like dips and valleys. To know that where I am now isn't permanent. It's not forever. It might feel like that in the moment, and it might be the most difficult thing ever, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I think that perspective helps people understand what they need to do to get to the top of the hill again.
Yeah, and that also goes with the good things though too, is that absolutely everything is temporary. So even those amazing wins are temporary too. And we need both the wins and the losses, the good and the bad, to be able to appreciate life, because we are meant to be full spectrum humans.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Not
mm-hmm.
meant to just be life is always happy, because that also robs us from the experience of the depth of life. When
Yes.
there are challenges and there are losses, then you really truly understand how to show up and be present and value people, because we know that they're not going to be there forever.
Right.
We're not going to be here forever. So it's really understanding that the ups and downs is where the depth and the beauty of life actually sits, versus just on the top where everything is like good and feels good. You don't learn a lot from that. You
Right.
just
I'd be curious. I'd be curious to get your perspective, or more specifically, if you could tell me what the word relentless, what does that mean to you personally?
So when we were coming up with a name for the company, we
Mhm.
were trying to figure out like, what does it mean to not quit? That is what, like, we don't quit. And that's where the beauty and the wins come from, is because you don't quit. The actual definition of relentless is talking about that no matter what, even if there's pain or suffering, that you carry on. And so I'm just like, that's just really truly what embodies life, especially for myself and my husband in the company, is that there is so much unexpected and there's that dark side of life that I can't imagine what will cause me to quit in life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Things that I've been through, I keep going when I have just as many excuses as the next person that could have just been like, well, I could have let my brain injury be the thing to derail me off to this comfortable life, but I don't have that ability to stop. So I'm like, it's really just no matter what goes on, just one foot in front of the other.
The idea of growing through difficulties, I imagine. Well, at first I think it's difficult to hear, and when something bad's happened to you and it doesn't feel good, to stop and go, okay, how can this make me better? I don't think that's a natural thing for a lot of people to do, um, but there truly is, and there are opportunities for growth. It's just being able to recognize that, maybe not in the moment, but at some point. Um, how does, like, I guess the question is, how do you be how are you able how do people do that? How do people stop and go, okay, now what do I take from this? Because you're in a lot of instances you still haven't resolved it fully. It's still painful. It still hurts. But to stop and say, figure out how to get better, that's not a natural leap for people.
No, it's a skill. So a lot of times the way that you're developing this skill is after the event, because life
Okay.
is understood in hindsight. So it's not like, okay, immediately there was a car accident and I'm going to stop and assess this thing. There's that process where your body's doing the physical healing, things like that. Once you're in that place where you're safe, there's some healing happening.
Hmm.
Ask yourself those questions. instead of being like, oh man, and complain or see the negative of it. It's, what is this trying to teach me? What am I meant to be learning from this? And like, in asking those questions instead of being like, why did this happen to me?
Mm.
Turning it into a shameful guilt thing is like, oh, I must be a bad person. All
Right.
of We're asking questions anyhow. So it's learning that skill of asking a constructive question. Can you
Right.
change the situation? No. Can you learn from it? Absolutely. Every situation that's presented is something that we can learn from, whether it's what not to do, where we need to grow, or this is teaching me a skill. Because it's like, when you ask for strength in life, you usually get more challenges, because then you're
Yes.
strong. It's not just like, okay, God's like, hey, here's some strength. Merry Christmas.
Right. Right.
You ask for something and then you're upset that you're getting the situation where you get to grow into that thing. But a
Mm.
lot of people don't equate that there's work involved, because there's a
Right.
lot of life that's spent avoiding any kind of work.
Right, right. No, and I think that's a fantastic point. And and those challenges and those obstacles and those pitfalls, that gives you that opportunity to build that strength that you're looking for. I think people just want it easy, right? Like if I ask for it, just give me the strength and I'm good. But at the same time, too, you can get the strength, but you will never really know how strong you are until you come up against challenges. That's the unique thing about this. Like they both work hand in hand. They need each other.
Yeah, you don't understand your full capacity until it's challenged. You really, really, truly don't understand who you are as a person, and
Hmm.
it's tested.
I kind of think like an elastic band, right? Like you keep pulling and pulling and stretching until, sure, it'll eventually pop at one point, but at least you know how far you can go before it pops.
Yeah,
Good that thing.
and work in those boundaries. It's like, okay, well, my capacity is here, but you can also grow past those points as well, because once that weakness is made apparent, then you can work on strengthening those things.
Right,
Because we're not meant to be stagnant. If you're not growing in life, you're actually going backwards.
right.
It's just how the ebb and flow of life goes. We're not meant to stay in the same iteration of ourselves for the entire life.
I wonder, Chris, if you could speak to the benefits of preparation and sort of constant preparation, because you don't get like you didn't get a memo saying, hey, 2 o'clock this afternoon you're gonna be in a car accident, right? Like, so just be ready for it. Like you don't get advance notice. These things just happen. You have to respond in the moment. So I guess some things about I want to talk about preparation, but some things people can do to prepare themselves for life's challenges.
I'm a big fan of using daily habits,
Okay.
right? I get up early. I work out. I have a meal plan that I follow, so that it's like all of those things are a little bit hard in the beginning. But
Hmm.
it's like, you show up every day in the gym to do that exercise. It's hard. So it's like, I'm going to take that weight, I'm going to bring it up 15 times. Okay, let's see how this goes. And it's what you're actually building is when you tell yourself you're going to do something and you do it, you're building belief in yourself. So it's the little tiny simple habits that people can do to prove that, okay, I know I show up for myself. I know I don't quit. I know that I've gotten through every hard day to this point, because everything you've been through made you who you are today.
Yes.
All of those lessons, all of those learnings are with you. So then there's your knowing and your trust in yourself, because you've gotten through all those things. And everything that you were presented as a challenge before was not like, hey, again, here's your memo. This is going to happen. You've been through so many unknown challenges already. It's your proof that you can get through this unknown, and that you have all those skills from the previous ones. And now what is this one asking me to do?
Right. And then are you prepared to do what needs to get done? Because that's the next step, right? Like you got it all in front of you. Now what, right? Can I do
Yeah.
this?
And that's where people learn about themselves. It's like, okay, are we doing this, or are we taking the path of least resistance now that creates the path of most resistance later?
Mhm. I,
That
I, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
that's okay. I'm like, it's just the ebb and flow. Easy now, hard later,
Yes.
harder, less hard later.
Right, right. You know, hard is going to come. It's just how you want to respond to it. When you choose when you want to respond to it, but the hard is going to come.
And then when you avoid conflict, it multiplies. So that conversation you don't want to have because it's uncomfortable creates more tension in different places. And then it becomes this bigger thing instead of like, let's just get into it. And then we work through it. And then it's tax on the back end because it didn't have that time to become a big mountain from a tiny little hill.
Right. No, absolutely. And I do love the conversation around habits, right? Like you start something and you just sort of build on it until it becomes just a regular part of your being. But what you're also doing is fortifying yourself in the process by establishing these habits.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like we create habits every day, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Is, are you doing things that are constructive towards what you want to achieve in life? Because your goals are different than mine. I don't want people to be doing my goals. I want to help them do theirs. So asking the question of the habits we do every day, are they towards or away from what you're actually desiring to create in life?
Gotcha. No, I love it. I think it's fantastic. And, a piece that I think works along, we talk about habits is self accountability, right? Like you've got to hold yourself accountable. No one else is going to be there to say, hey, you need to get up. And I mean, sure, you can hire a trainer and tell you get up and work out every day, but in absence of that, the only person you've got is yourself. So the accountability starts with you.
Yeah. And like radical self accountability. And radical acceptance of who you are today in all circumstances is a direct result of every choice you have made. And it's on you. I tell my clients, I'm like, if you don't hit your habits, I still have a six-pack because I'm still hitting my habits because I can't do this for you and you can't do it for me. So really teaching people, you actually have so much more control in your life than you're led to believe, but people don't want to be accountable for that. So then they say, oh, this happened to me, or so-and-so did this, so that they don't have to be accountable for the consequence, which really robs them of the power that they have in life to make those changes. Because if you created it, you can uncreate it.
Yeah. No, and talking about the power of your life, recognizing the power that you have is so key in all of this. Like once you know, like this is who I am, and this is what makes me unstoppable, and this is the things I can achieve, or even looking back, like I've always been a big fan of sort of looking back and giving yourself credit for the things that you've done in the past. Because oftentimes, we'll go through a situation and we'll get through it, and we're successful, get to the other side, and we move on to the next and we forget about it. We don't give ourselves the proper credit, right? We say, hey, you know what? When this happened, here's how you did it, but here's how you got through it, and here's what was good about what you did. Maybe you had a stumbling block or something, but you still bounce back. Like those are really important conversations to have with yourself, because when something else comes up, you're like, I've seen this before, right? And you can move to that even quicker if you recognize what you've done for yourself. But I think we just kind of go, I did this and move on. We accept it as a part of life. But I think we need to really celebrate, our wins.
Yeah, and share them. Like when you see somebody in a situation that you were similar, you're like, hey, when I was in this situation, this is what I did, because you're absolutely correct. We forget that was like that hard thing that we went through is a really hard thing, because now it's just become a part of our story. And so shining that light on, especially the parts where people feel really disqualifies them from helping anybody. Like I can use my drinking problem as a situation. I was very embarrassed about it. Now I can see what I was avoiding and how to explain it in a way so that qualifies me to help people who are struggling with some drinking. And instead of hiding it away in a closet to be this perfect perception of a person, is like, no, I made mistakes too. These are the choices I made. This is the things that I wish I would have known. And this is the support I wish I would have had. So just being able to be transparent to help people, because again, that ties back to we all struggle. We all have challenges, and it's a universal thing to need people to lean on.
Yeah. No, and there's nothing wrong with that either, too. I think there's, we might maybe beat ourselves up, or we look at where we are in life and, oh, this shouldn't be happening to me. And I should, like, we have all these, again, we have all these in our minds, we had it planned out. But then when things sort of fall into place, like, no, that's not exactly how it is. And this is kind of what reality says what will happen. Um, now, so a sober life is something that's very important to you and something that you promote and encourage. I don't know if you sort of talk about that part of your journey.
So I'm a big fan of it. I have two stepsons now, and they're at the age, we're in Canada, so drinking age is 18
Mhm.
here, where it's becoming more prevalent. And my husband and I made the choice a year and a half ago to be absolutely sober. We both have our own journeys with it. And I grew up in a small town where drinking was super prevalent. I didn't actually start drinking until I was about 21. And for 10 years, I used it to avoid life. I was still very functional. I have a professional license. So you know, I'd have drinks on the weekend with friends, but it got to a point where it was like when I would drink, it would be a lot, and
Right.
it didn't create anything good in my life. So when I first started looking at what it was like without it, life got better. I didn't have to worry about what I had done the night before. I didn't have to worry about what I had said or which group of people I could hang out with, because I
Right.
wasn't saying things that I was holding back. But then when you were drinking, everything comes out in a really unpretty way. And I
Mm.
wasn't making correct choices for my body. I was eating crap food and not taking care of myself. So for me, it was a no-brainer to be able to take it out. Like, I got to the point where it was not an excessive problem. It was just enough that it was going to create a big problem if I did
Right.
not delete it from life. And it's one of those things where it was really interesting when I started telling people I don't drink, that they would get really uncomfortable. And I'm like, if my sobriety bothers you, it
Yeah.
might be something to look at, because I have no judgment for where people are at.
Yep.
Tell them, this is what I learned, this is what I wish I would have known. And I tell my stepsons, I'm like, I wish I would have never drank in my life. I'm like, not something I can go back and undo. You'll have your own journey. This is what I wish somebody would present to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
example
And
here.
what I find interesting. So I've never drank in my life at all. It's just never been an interest.
Yep.
The idea of drinking to the point where you're not in control of your actions or you don't remember things, it just didn't sit well with me. And so I had saw lots of examples, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. So I've never drank. And what I find fascinating, I'll go to a public whatever outing event, and they'll say, you want to drink? Nah, I don't drink. And people are just either blown away. So one of two things happen: they're really, really blown away, or they're convinced you're gonna get me drunk that night. I mean, it's one of the two. And I was going, I've been doing pretty well this long. What makes you think you're gonna get me drunk tonight? Like, it's just hilarious to me. But I think it just really shows sort of how society views alcohol and the consumption of it. And it's, hey, it's everyone should be doing it. Like, and I'm going, well, no, it's not me. And I'm sure that I know I'm not alone, obviously. You and I, but are here, two people that don't. But at the same time, it's just really fascinating that it's without question, it's an acceptable norm. But you're almost seen as like there's something wrong with it if you don't.
And I think it's just because it is so socially acceptable that when you do something out of the norm, people are like, I didn't realize that was an option.
Hmm.
Like, up here in northern Alberta, people start drinking at a really young age. Like, my husband was 14 when he started drinking.
Right.
The very first time when he was 41, when he stopped, like, decided we're going to do a year sober, and then it's just carried on. It was like, this is the first time since I've 14 that I've strung X amount of days where you're not drinking, because it's just
Right.
this one thing where nobody questions it because everybody does it.
Mhm. Yep, 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 yep. It doesn't make it right, but that's okay. That's a choice.
I'm really excited that the world is shifting a little bit, so that it's presenting like being sober isn't the loser version of things anymore, which it was made out to be like, oh, there must be something wrong with you if you don't drink, or you
Gotcha.
really must have had a really bad problem. And it's
Right,
like,
right,
no, it
right.
just, there's other things to life, and there's less regret that comes with being sober.
Yep, yep, yep. I love it. I love it. I wonder if you could talk about just for listeners, maybe to understand a bit about your programs and what you can offer them. I wonder if you could describe that a bit and maybe where they could go to learn more about you and your work.
Yeah, absolutely. I also have created a little free gift for your listeners too. Guys, come to our Instagram page, give us a follow, and send me a DM saying Audley. Then I will send you our free habit tracker so that you can start your own little habit tracking of your own. But really, ours is mindset focused, because lots of times you can get people to lose weight and get healthier. But if you don't change the view of how you're looking at food, your life, and what you want to create, then you tend to fall backwards into the same pattern and need the same help. So use nutrition, macro-based nutrition. We give a fitness plan based on the person's goals. So everybody's is going to look very different. And we have mindset coaching we do. So we have a group call every week where everybody gets on, they talk about their wins, their struggles, they present things from their life that they're like, I really need some help in this area. And we have a wide range of men and women that we work with. And it's really just like helping you uncover the blocks that you have in relationships, finances, with your body. You build a really strong body. It unlocks so many things in life because you show up differently. You're proud, you're confident, you show your self-respect, and then that allows bigger things to come in because you start seeing bigger possibilities for your life. We're most active on our Instagram page. We are on all social media platforms, but Instagram is where we show our daily habits and our daily lives. We get up at 2:50 in the morning. Not everybody has to get up at that time. We've got the 2 kids, we're farmers, we have coaching, and my husband works in the oil field. So we have no slow days here. We show our other habits of like the reading, the reflecting, and just that way there's accountability. So when you want to miss, you come to the page and you're like, Charissa was already up. She's already got her workout in. She's got her coffee date going on. It's like, okay, I can get out of bed and go do something. So we just lead from the front. We don't ask our clients to do anything that we're not already doing.
Yeah. I love it. No, I love it. And again, leading from the front, I think is a great, you're sort of laying the roadmap and walking the talk, so to speak. So I think that's a great way of doing that. And where could listeners, so the Instagram page is a website as well, or?
It's mostly the Instagram page. We do have a website. The Instagram page is the.relentless.couple. And we've got the website listed there as well. But if you want to send us DMs, you're actually talking to myself or my husband. There's a real person answering behind every.
I love it. I love it. Well, this is awesome, Charissa. This is first of all, thank you again for being here. We said I thank you off the top. I need to thank you again. I think the insights and your experiences so much value to others who are going through their own challenges, and the fact that you're able to take those now and help others in a wonderful way is an absolutely beautiful thing. So congratulations, all the best, and thank you for being a guest here on the Audacious Living Podcast.
Thank you so much for sharing your precious time with me and having this incredibly beautiful conversation. I truly value it.
Thank you. Back we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes to Charissa for being here. During our conversation, we delved into the idea that every obstacle presents an opportunity for growth. Charissa shared her personal experience with adversity and how she transformed her challenges into stepping stones for success. What I absolutely loved most about the interview was her candid acknowledgement of the hard days and the importance of accepting them as part of the journey. Charissa emphasized that it's not about avoiding difficulties, but rather learning to navigate through them with grace and tenacity. I encourage you to connect with Charissa directly through her Instagram account, where she will share all sorts of valuable resources and insights to support your journey. Additionally, she's offering a fantastic offer for our listeners, a free habit tracker to help you kickstart your path to personal growth. All you got to do is simply message her on IG and say, Audley, use my name, and she'll send the habit tracker your way. As we wrap up this episode, I want to thank you for tuning into the Audacious Living Podcast. If you've enjoyed this conversation, found value in it, please take a moment to like, follow, or subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already. Your support helps us to continue to grow and reach even more people on their journey to living audaciously. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to embrace the challenges and triumphs that life presents. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.